Hello YouTube models, welcome back to my channel. I want to thank all my viewers and subscribers for tuning in. So this is part 2 of the Miniart medieval fortress 172 scale. So I pulled everything out of the sealed bags and I just washed it in dishwashing detergent. So while I'm waiting for it to dry, I just want to show you without the plastic in the way. So here are the door. The wood panel, I guess, is really nice. The stone facade. I don't know the technical names, so don't be gentle with me on the comments, but like the top of the tower walls, the highs and the lows, I know there's archer windows and keeps, but I don't know which is which. But anyway, these look like the stairs. But I really like this detail work over here. So if I run really thinned out black paint and it settles like panel line accents and then weather it, it should look pretty good. So I think some of them might even have walkways. But anyway, this is one piece. Second piece looks very familiar. But just look at the deep detail. Stonework. These look like smaller towers. Of course, there's water droplets inside, but... So I'm just waiting for it to dry. But anyway, just want to show you the details. Pretty good detail. Nice deep moldings and impressions. So it should be pretty good, but some of it is kind of repetitive because, you know, it's 4 walls. If there's 4 towers, I mean, one tower, you build one, you have to do it times 4. All right, so that's it for now. All right, I have one more Christmas card that I received after my last video that I just want to show you guys. It's a very beautiful Christmas card. Nice winter lodge with the moose wandering around the outside. But the weather is pretty much what we're having across the country right now, snow. So very nice Christmas card. Also want to thank Jamie G for the sticker he sent me. This outrageous, exaggerated parts of this 57 Chevy Nomad reminds me of the Revell Zingers. Remember those kits that had like wide, big tires and distorted bodies? So it's a huge high-rise manifold. So thanks, Jamie G. Here I am with the Miniart medieval fortress. It is complete. I just have to weather it. But this is my first Miniart and my first fortress built, so I didn't know what to expect. Wasn't really I mean, it's a fun build, but it's not terribly impressive, meaning there's some detail or some things that are lacking. So for example, fit and finish isn't really that great because if you look over here, there's a little bit of a gap over here. Now I could have, when I was gluing the inside wall, I could have moved it up higher, but the problem is if they match up on the top, you're going to end up with a gap on the bottom. So I kind of made a compromise and I kind of put it in the middle so you get a little bit of a gap on the top and the bottom. But on this side, you see there's no gap on the top and there's a gap on the bottom. I don't know if there's supposed to be a gap like that. But in fitting these pieces together, they didn't really quite fit perfectly. So for example, over here, you know how they don't meet flush? It's kind of like slight overlapping. Half of the problem too is that there's no positive anchor point or overlapping joint for it to sit in for a more positive joint. It's just flush, which is really difficult. Even this, you see how this is a joint, but you just glue it on top. There's no, like, some people, they put like a little ridge behind it or an overlapping ridge. But there are doors that I kind of left open. The ladders, even these, I left open instead of putting them flush. The ramp does come down, but if you want to detail it, you can put some jeweler's chain and attach the door to this hole. The doors do kind of operate a little bit, but they don't really lock positively. So doors open and close, but they also unhinge pretty easily too. This I thought was going to be operating, but you would have to pretty much glue it in the up position, down position. So I left it down. There's actually a little slide it goes in, but it's not that tight. so it keeps coming off. But little things like that, like Miniart probably could have did a better job with the way the panels join together or the inside joins. But anyway, this is the final assembly, and as you see from the side, there is no way of, there's no positive attachment point. You just kind of need to guess and glue flush pieces together. So yes, you can change the dimensions slightly. See, you might be able to glue, maybe if you wanted to, like flush like that, or let it stick out like that, but just the whole kit was like, you know, no positive attachment points. So now I'm just gonna have to weather it, and I'm going to start painting the figures. Usually I start with the light colors and then work myself to dark, because it's always easier to paint over light colors than it is dark colors. But in this instance, I'm going to paint from the inside and work myself out, meaning I'll start with the saddle, then with the white cloth, and then paint the horse. So that's what I'm up to now. Instead of spending time and money on my enamels, I just pretty much whipped out these Home Depot acrylic water-based paints. I think I got like 8 or 10 colors for $5, so it's fairly cheap. I think now it's probably more expensive. I don't know if they still offer it, but these are pretty good. You know, they're made for painting wood or plastic for kids kits from Home Depot. So basically these are colors I've been using. Is the mixture of black and white will give you gray, brown and white will give you a lighter tone wood, but black and brown will give you a dark brown, which looks more like cast iron. It's like the windows, gates. So you can start mixing colors to make your own colors. When I weather it, I'm going to dilute it with a little bit of water, but you can't over dilute it because the paint pigments are really not that fine on these. So unlike AK powders, where, you know, even the fine detail, when you magnify it or come up close, it'll still look good, these is just going to look like a big water droplet. So you can't over dilute it, but make sure that if you want to weather it, you do dilute a little bit of water. Because if you just brush it as is, it's just going to be like paint, and it'll dry, and then it won't look weathered. So if you want to give it a wash, make sure you add a little bit of water. And in my opinion, I think over diluting is slightly better than under diluting, because if you don't put enough water, it's just going to dry, and then you won't be able to wash it. It'll dry on like paint. So from here, I'm just going to move on to the figures, and then maybe I'll come back and, I mean, it doesn't look bad with the molded gray, but it's kind of shiny and plasticky, so I'll try to do something with like a gray wash and show some weathering. So that's where I am now. Alright, so I'm done detail painting all the horses and the figures. If you notice, I left them on the tree, and I cut them and kept them together. So for example, if one section was a set of 2 or a set of 3, I would just leave it like that, and then that way they're easier to handle. See? So I don't have to cut them out. The only drawback is now when I cut it out, I'm going to touch up, but they strategically place the attachment point to the tree in the crotch, so if you put them on the horse, you don't really have to touch it up. The lance, I did have to detach from the trees because the pole section has to be all brown. You can't have it bare plastic. But for the most part, you know, if you don't paint the crotch, they're going to be sitting on the horses anyway. But anyway, it's like a factory assembly line. It started getting tedious and tiresome, so you just have to spend 3 or 4 hours each night detail painting them different colors, and then you have to touch up and constantly go back to the former colors that you painted just to get a crisper, cleaner separation. So there it is. So I'm going to separate them, start weathering the castle, and then I'll come back with the final reveal. Alright, so here we are at the final reveal. Everything is done, so let's move the boxes out of the way. Both kits are integrated for display. Here it is. I weathered it, and some parts were darker than I wanted it to be, but the gaps between the brick or stonework came out the way I wanted it, with some black craft paint. And here are the knights coming out. They're in lined up formation. And of course the stone and brickwork is a little darker than before. So I painted it in gray, and then I black washed the complete fortress. For the most part, the figures include pretty much these 4 types. It's the knights with the lance, the ones with the mask, the ones without the mask, the ones with the sword and the mask. But there is some detail. I mean, it was hard to see in the beginning because it was just plastic and I didn't use primer, but as you paint it, you get used to where the injection lines are and separations, the belts, and the detail. Like there's a little bit of chain armor texture on it, so that's pretty neat. And then of course with the mask, you can see the Crusader cross on the mask, right? The lines for the cross were not really that clear, and sometimes I had difficulty seeing it, so I pretty much just went freehand on it. So those are not decals. But after you paint 1 or 2, you know, you get the hang of it where everything is, so you can just kind of guess where it is, the lines, separation for the colors. But those are the 4 variations, and there's 15 of them, so I mean, I probably won't be doing a figure set for a while, because 15 is a lot, especially at 172 scale. But I guess if it's 135 scale, I wouldn't mind doing like 4 or 5. I never mind doing 4 or 5 if they are included in the kit. So it'll be a while till my next figure set. If anything, maybe like a modern or US World War II era figure set. But here it is. So I don't have it on the turntable, so I'm not going to turn it around, but I left this all loose because that was easier to store. So I'll have stills at the end. Stay tuned. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.